Hi, I'm Jay Kahn, State Senator in Cheshire County. Stay tuned for Raise Your Voice.
Hi, and welcome to Raise Your Voice, a show about progressive and democratic ideas. I'm Laurie Donohue, and I'll be your host. And I'm very happy to welcome our guest today, Jay Kahn. Welcome, Jay.
Hi, Laurie. Thanks for the invitation.
Sure. Jay is currently the New Hampshire State Senator for District 10, and he's running for re-election as well. So, Jay, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Gladly. So I've lived in Cheshire County for 32 years. I've spent 46 years in public service. Professionally, that was 42 years in higher education, with 15 years in Illinois and 28 years at Keene State College. I served as vice president for finance and planning for 27 of those years, 1 year as interim president and adjunct faculty in management and economics along the way. Uh, Civically, I've been very engaged in this wonderful community that just makes so many opportunities for people to be involved. I served on the Cheshire Medical Center board and was the chairman of its activities over a 4-year period. Was on the Monadnock Economic Development Corporation board for a number of years and served as its chairman for a few. Uh, and when I retired in 2016, I had run the previous fall for city councilor in the city of Keene. Didn't know that that was going to lead to somebody asking me later, hey, there's might be a vacancy in the state Senate seat. Would you consider running? And my first answer was no. I had retired and had a dozen things on the plate and was looking forward to seeing where those would lead. But 4 months later, I had a better idea of where those were going and was able to think about this. If you don't take those first steps, you just don't know what's on awaiting you. And what has presented me with the opportunities to represent the 55 or 60,000 people in the 15 towns I represent in Cheshire County has been to be a fierce advocate for our region and for the issues that are important to us on education, healthcare, rural broadband infrastructure in the southwestern parts of New Hampshire. So I've had a lot of success. I've worked across the aisle, and I find that a lot of my background, which includes a PhD in public policy studies, lends itself well to the workings of state government.
Well, we're glad you're there. And we wish you all the best of luck with the reelection as well. Jay, like you said, I know that you are very involved with higher education. It's near and dear to your heart. But we all know that it's an expensive endeavor. And there's a lot of people who can't afford to do that. So what do you think, as being part of the New Hampshire government, you can do to improve that situation and to help people along their career paths?
A lot of tangents to that question. I'll try to
Yeah.
explore a few of them. One of the things that made public higher education more expensive were the actions post-recession of 2008. And the New Hampshire legislature cut in half the state aid to public colleges and universities in New Hampshire.
Yep.
That ensued a period of tuition increases that the state has not been able to recover from. I recognize that, and I recognize the kind of debt that students and families have taken on in order to continue the tradition of a higher education leading into the workforce. And as a result, I introduced in my first term and was successful in my in this current term to freeze tuition for colleges and universities in the state, the public ones. And that meant that the state needed to put forward about $13 million more to support the university system and $19 million to support the community college system in this biennium. And we did that purposefully to try to attract more of the college-going population in New Hampshire to go to the public institutions in New Hampshire, because this we know, that if a student transitions from high school into a public institution for higher education for a 2-year or 4-year degree in New Hampshire, that they are much more likely to stay in New Hampshire post-graduation. And you know
Wow, I
what?
didn't know that.
And only 40% of those high schoolers that go directly from high school to college go to college here in New Hampshire, public
Yeah,
and
and
private.
I went to UNH and my son went to UNH, and the quality of education there was exceptional. And so there's really a lot of opportunity for New Hampshire youth to take advantage of our higher education system.
Indeed, and at multiple levels. And this is what I've been trying to work on in the state, is to make sure that we are integrating our pre-college years with the post-college years. And we don't wait to explore careers and educational opportunities until a junior or senior year in high school. But in fact, we start pursuing what those interests are early on as youth become teens and transition into high schools. If we can do some career exploration and begin to identify, here are the kind of credentials that you're going to need to build upon, both through your education and through your civic volunteering, that can give you insights as to what kind of things you might do post graduation from high school. It may be through exploring careers further in college, and it may be in using education to launch a first career. College is a step towards a lifetime of experience, but so is high school. And we can begin to shape high school more like a college environment so that students can begin to explore those careers early on in high school. That's why I proposed, and we now have a law in the state of New Hampshire for a career readiness credential in high school. If you imagine what a high school education requires is 24 credits, 14 of those are prescribed in state statute. 6 of those lead to a New Hampshire Scholars credential. New Hampshire Scholars credential are for college-bound, college degree kinds of careers and opportunities. But 4 of those courses, credits, can be completed in a career education sequence. Why more students? Only 9% of our high school students are taking career education courses. And those can lead to pre-engineering, as well as accounting, as well as nursing, all sorts of career opportunities, the trades, and so that exploration is really important in the high school years. And the career ready credential can be built upon, beginning with career exploration in middle school and in the first year of high school, and use those other 3 years to begin to build some experience, because you might start in one career track and say, yeah, that was fun to try. I enjoyed working with my hands. I'll try that again, and maybe not. Maybe I wanted to explore a different field. EMS work, there are just so many possibilities that students can explore through the Cheshire Career Center or other career centers. We've got 28 of them around the state and 80 high schools. We can push this out, and it allows for dual enrollment with college credit in those later courses, and it starts to build credentials, but also earn credit towards college, which ultimately can help control student costs.
I think that's a great idea, and it's a great program because not all students and not all people need to go on to the same type of 4-year degree or advanced graduate degree. There are so many other opportunities that may be just as satisfying, but still you can do it without going through those same channels. And to help them at the high school years to understand that and to set themselves on the right path is really valuable. That's a great program.
Yep.
Thanks, Joe. Jay. We're going to take a quick break now, and we're going to have a musical performance by two of my very good friends in the New Hampshire area, Nick and Sharon Pengaros. So take it away, Nick and Sharon.
Hi, we're in this pretty little garden behind the Hampstead Library, and we're back here doing some other recordings, so we thought we would do a little bit of a bonus track, if you will. We're going to do a song by Casey Chambers and Shane Nicholson, who unfortunately are no longer together. So this is called Rattlin' Bones. Smoke don't rise, fuel don't burn, sun don't shine no more. Late one night, sorrow come round, scratching at my door. But I cut my hands and I break my back, dragging this bag of stones, till they bury me down beneath the ground with the dust and rattling bones. Left my home, left my love, hot on a rusty nail. Devil rose up, heavy with gold, my soul's not for sale. Then a holy man in a house of God, he offered me a book of prayer. And when I left my home, I left my love, left my faith back there. Smoke don't rise, fuel don't burn, sun don't shine no more. Late one night, sorrow come round, scratching at my door. But I cut my hands and I break my back, dragging this bag of stones, till they bury me down beneath the ground with the dust and rattling bones. Shut my eyes, hang my head, darkness makes no sound. Climb it up, bottom there, hurts on the way back down. When a sadness falls on the moaning bird, wonder what the day will bring. But I'm shutting my eyes and hang my head, at least that bird can sing. Smoke don't rise, fuel don't burn, sun don't shine no more. Late one night, sorrow come round, scratching at my door. But I cut my hands and I break my back, dragging this bag of stones, till they bury me down beneath the ground with the dust and rattling bones. Till they bury me down beneath the ground with the dust and rattling bones.
Sharon and Nick. That was great. Really appreciated. So Jay, now we're back to you. And I wanted to approach a new subject with you, healthcare. Now, I have health insurance through my work, but I have a very large deductible, and some things aren't covered. And you and I both know that if someone has like a $500 emergency, some people can't even handle that. So, what do you see that the New Hampshire state government can do to help people with this really important subject?
Affordability of healthcare is a basic need. We've got to do better in our country, and this has been a national debate since the 2008 presidential election. It's important for us to deal with, and I don't think that we're there yet. But I also think that the Affordable Care Act was an important step along the way, and
For sure.
creating a public Medicaid option for those who need it, and the insurance exchange for those who don't have an insurance alternative and need to buy into a public option, or an option that is bid with a public need. And that right now is covering nearly 200,000 people in the state of New Hampshire that publicly bid those three insurers. But it's centered around Medicaid and providing that kind of coverage and options for people. And the constant eroding that we hear about for Medicaid is really undermining the confidence in the system. The system works well. It provides affordable care. And one of the things that the New Hampshire legislature has the option of doing is making sure that if the federal government, through challenge or withdrawal of benefits, that people don't fall into gaps. And so we have put stopgap insurance in place for those people with pre-existing conditions. Should the federal government eliminate pre-existing conditions as a requirement for insurers, then the New Hampshire program will continue that for people in spite of whatever federal rulings there are. So that's the kind of nuance that the New Hampshire legislature can provide assurances for. We tried to do that this last year on reproductive rights and failed because the governor vetoed that reproductive parity bill. That would have made sure that any insurer in the state that provided maternity benefits also needed to provide reproductive care, including abortion services and counseling as a part of their maternity benefit. So those are some of the things we can do. One of the other things that we did in this legislative session had to do with prescription drugs and the price of prescription drugs. We all know that insulin is a life-saving and basic necessity for thousands of people in our state and millions across our country. And the price is just out of hand. A 3-month prescription of insulin can be a month's worth of rent. That's wrong. And so we put a price control on the price of insulin. We put a requirement that insurers must provide in their formulary EpiPens at a formulary price where they're compensating for part of that prescription care. And we created the opportunity for the state insurance plan to bid from out-of-country prescription providers. And so that's going to increase competition and read Canada into that, because if they're able to sell in their markets at prices that beat the United States, well, then we ought to have the opportunity to import from that country to control our prices better.
Well, as you know, there are people from New Hampshire who will make the trip up to Canada so that they can buy their prescriptions there because it's so much cheaper. So if something like that could help them reduce the cost of their prescriptions at home, I'm sure they would appreciate that more than having to drive all the way to Canada to get what they need.
Indeed. And one of the things that we're noticing in this pandemic crisis is that people are, when they lose their job, they're losing their insurance.
Absolutely, yeah.
And those insurance doors don't open automatically. And that's wrong. We can't have people going months without insurance because of a job dislocation. So we've got to make sure that people who need it, that they can have an affordable option either through Medicaid or through the insurance exchange of the state through buying in. But the option needs to be there constantly for people who find that they've lost insurance within a 90-day window to be able to acquire that.
Now, you were talking about coverage for reproductive rights, and that did not go through because of the governor. Do you see that coming back up in this next legislative session?
Absolutely. I see it coming up this week in a veto session. Uh,
Great.
I'm not real optimistic about because all of those veto bills will originate in the House, the original vote, and I'm the House has traditionally been the more difficult chamber
Yeah.
to see vetoes overridden, but it's possible. Last year, I was successful overriding the governor's veto on the elimination of a 90-day wait period on therapeutic marijuana. Uh, that was really important. People who have a prescription ought to be able to fill that upon receiving it, not wait 90 days and get addicted to some other form of drug and pain control while they're waiting for that period to expire. So I was pleased that last year one of the two vetoes that we had was on that bill.
Do you see any other bills coming up in the next session that will deal with healthcare in any way?
Well, I was really happy that I sponsored and worked with in a bipartisan coalition with somebody from the House, Democrat, Republican, my Republican colleague and Democratic colleague in the Senate, to create a telemedicine bill this session. And that it provides an opportunity as that system evolves to have an alternative form of care that can be delivered in the home or in the school, in a workplace. People don't have to go to a hospital in order to receive basic care or consultations. And this as far as accessibility of healthcare and the potential down the road with greater experience to even bend the cost curve on healthcare through telemedicine is extraordinary. You know, before the pandemic, less than 1% of all Medicaid billings was going through telemedicine. During the pandemic, 80% of all mental health and 50% of all hospital consults medical consults were taking place through telemedicine during the
Wow.
pandemic.
Wow. That's
Now,
huge.
if we allow it, everyone will retreat back to their corners and will fail to develop this mechanism that we know is quicker, more efficient, and actually will provide more consistent care because it can be delivered anytime, any place. So I'm really, what we did with that bill is create a study committee in addition. So that bill requires insurers to pay the same rate for a telemedicine consult as they would for an in-office consult. And what that will do is evolve the system. And the commission that we created will be studying evidence of the uses of telemedicine during the pandemic, post-pandemic, and be making recommendations to the legislature about how to evolve the system, either through better technology and through better cost codes so that we can measure this more efficiently as to what the cost of care is and deliver healthcare in a more efficient manner in the future.
Yeah, and I can see that being especially important in New Hampshire because we have so many rural communities that don't have easy access to healthcare like that. So that's really an exciting idea. That's great. So Jay, our time is pretty much at the end. We're going to have one more musical number by Sharon and Nick Pangaro, and we're going to have to do this again. We just kind of scratched the surface, didn't we?
We did. There's plenty more to cover, and thank you, Laurie, for the opportunity to talk with you today.
This has been great. Thanks so much, Jay.
Fire in the mountains, smoke is spreading everywhere. I see my home burning, my life going to the air. The road will be a tough one, but I will not despair. I'll endure, how long must I endure? I know the earth is angry when I see the lava flow. I'm always in the way, Lord, but I ain't gonna go. This place is close to heaven.